Yeah, honestly, Sean, my message there, and this isn't, I don't know, maybe not we're excited. We got a victory, right? And we're able to get that early to build that momentum. But, truthfully, my message was we're not going to win a whole lot more games with as many penalties and the undisciplined right plays that we had today. So, we have to fix that. I mean, that has to be a point of emphasis and not something we just talk about and then at game time, right? Like we're just kind of out sometimes doing our own thing, And the other aspect of that too was some of the penalties we incurred today were, tossing the ball up when we score, and one when we came out on the sidelines after a big turnover. And winning football teams, which is what we came here to build, is a winning football team. I know that hasn't been who we are, but that is the expectation we've been building from day one. Winning teams don't have those penalties because you expect success in those moments, right? So it's a learning curve for us to make sure that we can overcome those situations. But honestly, our discipline, that's such a big part that has to get better.
Yeah, nearly 200 yards in penalties. But I think it's undeniable one of the bright spots today was your quarterback and your unexpected quarterback in Hayden Teska. He was your number 3 as of about 10 days ago. So he gets thrust in, and probably a scenario where you were hoping that he wouldn't have to come in out of necessity because of injuries.
For sure.
He had to come in because Kofi went down relatively early. So what did Teska do, and how impressive was it? The fact that he was the number 3 quarterback, probably didn't get a lot of reps with the guys he ended up playing with, but it looked like he had been getting starter reps all along.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think the biggest thing for Hayden is he's a very intellectual person. So playing the position for him is so important that, he's physically talented and has a good arm, right, and can run dangerous enough. But his biggest strength is his mind. And you saw that, I thought, from snap one. He wasn't rattled. It wasn't like I felt like it was somebody sitting down to play chess. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he just stepped in after an injury to our quarterback on a sack, which would be easy to be kind of rattled, right? He just steps in and, hey, let's line up and let's go play football. And the aspect for Hayden that, we'll see film, but I think we're gonna be able to see his eyes were in the right place a lot. And just playing the position down to its not just superstar plays, but just the discipline to look at the right spot, right, and make the right read, get the ball out quick. You know what I mean? I thought he did an unbelievable job today, really.
It's interesting that in 2023, teams, it feels like, have less quarterback depth than ever because if guys aren't playing pretty quickly, a lot of times they move on. But we saw both teams in the first half go to the backups. Now, the benefit for the Shippensburg side is their backup threw for over 1,000 yards last year.
Yep.
But the fact that you have 2 backup quarterbacks come in, and really I thought both guys
played well,
accounted pretty well for themselves, speaks about the fact that even though you've both had, I'm sure, players move on from the position, you feel pretty good about the guys you have next in line.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I can't say enough about what Coach Holzer's done, to be able to help get those guys in a position to be ready to play. I mean, it's not just the offensive overhaul that he's brought to the table, but, being able to train those guys and train their eyes and back to really, really, basic, fundamentals and what he's been able to do. And I think that's why you saw, truthfully, I thought Cruz played really, really well last week. I know the stat line might not show that, right? But honestly, watching film and his decision-making was really sharp, right? And then you saw Hayden come in a situation that would be very difficult, and he was out there dealing, and making the right reads on RPOs. And that was one that we hit to Ethan, right, that Hayden ran that exactly correctly in practice, because if you don't read that safety right, that play probably turns into a pick. So I'm not saying he was perfect, right? We're going to have a lot of film, but could you be more proud of a guy to step in for his first game opportunity there than what he put on the film here? I mean, I don't see how you could. I mean, I thought he played a hell of a game, and you should have saw those guys in there when, we were talking about some performances today, out of Dio and Hayden, but when I pulled Hayden up and those guys really, really got excited for him, and then, so you can feel that belief and that back from his teammates as well.
Well, McCormick had a pretty nice afternoon, I would say, 15 tackles and a sack, but truly when it came down to crunch time, it was Dio who came through with the third down tackle in the backfield, and I believe he was the prominent player to force the fourth down and turnover on downs that sealed the game. That's why you made him number one, right? For sure.
And that a guy that off the field leads our program the right way, does the right thing, high grades, high character. And then that guy number one leads us in those moments. That's exactly what, I can remember plain as day our first win on this field, right, in 2021 after the COVID year. Jaden Emberton Gaines, right, made an unbelievable stop down here, right, wearing number one. Jalen McDuffie canceling out drives by himself as number one, and Dio did it in the, exactly what those guys kind of do, step up in those moments. So he was one we talked about, the game, giving the game ball to, and Hayden was another one. We actually didn't give it to either one of those guys. We gave it to Dimitri Whitehead.
Yeah, he made a number of special teams plays that actually transitioned. I was going to talk about their great player, Red Douglas. He had an impact as a receiver. Just looking at the numbers, 130 yards and a touchdown. But the bigger impact I thought he made last year was in special
kickoff
teams.
Return, for sure.
And I asked you, can you kick the ball to him whatsoever? And you said, we just have to be a lot better. We can't just do the base coverage, but we have to be a lot better. I thought special teams swung the game in your favor.
No question. No question. I think in a lot of ways, right? I thought our KRR was not a great unit last week. I thought we answered the bell there, right? And special teams, I would say that's our flip that I think we were way more disciplined on special teams overall, and that really helped field position-wise, put us in some pretty big positions. But if you talk about the play, to me, the play of the game is that punt block, right? And I talked about in the locker room, Coach Ragland is running our punt we call it PBR, punt block return, right? So there are times we're going to set up the returns, other times we're going to come after it. I mean, he talked about and drew up the perfect scheme for this, punt unit, right? And we knew it. And he said it all week. If we get the opportunity and we call this play, you got to believe it and you just got to trust it and go. And so we practiced it, and Dimitri even messed it up on Friday, right? His path wasn't right. So, Friday walkthrough, we have an opportunity to, kind of correct that and talk about it and put him in that right position. And, Coach Ragland said he's got it. When we get in that position, he's got it. And, we call him Meach. That's what the whole team calls him. And Meach stepped up in that moment, and that was the play to me that absolutely swung this game.
Lastly, any win is a good win, especially for a program that's trying to get to that level of being a competitive PSAC West team. But the fact that you get it at home in your home opener, how significant is that?
No doubt. And just being able to build that, momentum. And I've said this for a long time, right? Like, we want to be able to continue to create a better, even community with Greensburg and get that much more local support and build that, right? But our fans and our stands, I think even since I was a player here coming back, that was one thing I thought right away is the fan support is honestly better than I even, remember it. I mean, there are moments that this place is loud and gives us really good energy and can help feed off of that. So I think getting that win here at home, right, to build that momentum, this was an absolutely critical victory, right, to build on. And there's so many times, right, we talk about the growth. Week 1 to week 2 is the most important aspect of growth. I think we saw that to a really, really high level offensively. We saw that to a really, really high level, I thought, special teams-wise as well. And then defensively stepping in and making some big plays and big moments. I thought as a team, we grew a ton from week 1 to week 2, right? And so that opportunity to have to not go in and talk about, guys, we're this close. You know what I mean? We're this close. Honestly, we're this close to still giving this one away. But it's a whole lot easier. We got to be harder on them as coaches to make sure we're better in that discipline category. But it feels a whole lot better going there and say we're this close to giving it away. But we made enough plays. We did our jobs to a high enough level, and we truly lived the one-play mentality today to come out here 1-0.
Well, go enjoy this one before you have to focus on a long road trip next week.
Very long. Yep. Thank you.
All right, Dan Day, the head coach for Seton Hill. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time.